Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Shows Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course. I definitely wanted to make a video in regards to the untimely passing of rapper Takeoff. So I wanted to do like my own little tribute to him. I shouldn't say little, but my tribute to him. And I, of course, give my condolences to the family, friends, and fans of Takeoff. So, as you know, as you've heard, rapper Takeoff from the rap group Migos was shot and killed in Houston. He was only 28 years old. Now, Takeoff was born Kershnik Kari Ball, and he was from Lawrenceville, Georgia. And Quavo is Takeoff's uncle, and Offset, of course, is Takeoff's cousin. Migos began rapping in 2008. Their debut studio album, Young Rich Nation, was released in July of 2015. Takeoff was shot and killed at 810 Billards and Bowling in Houston at about 2:40 a.m. Central Time today. Of course, again, rest in peace. You know, it's always difficult when you learn about anyone passing away. You know that there are people who care about them and who will miss them deeply. You know, his fellow musicians, fellow musical artists, and Migos, they are also his family. So it is a double loss. And anytime that they write rhymes or go in the studio or perform, they're going to think about his presence and all the times that they shared creating music with Takeoff. So it'll be something that will change Quavo and Offset forever. So my heart definitely goes out to him. And also, he was so young. You know, I actually have a journalism background. I earned my degree in journalism from Michigan State. And so one of the things that you're taught is there's things that you should never write. It's just ridiculous, or, it sounds ridiculous. And one of those things is you should never write that a person is too young to die. That's almost like saying if someone was very elderly and they died, that it was okay. So you don't really say, oh, this person was too young to die, but we all know that Takeoff definitely had plenty more life experiences to have, and he had a lot more to give to this life, to give to humanity and to music before he was just taken away. It's in such an untimely way and in such a violent way. And so when I woke up this morning and I was getting ready for work, I saw several YouTubers, several bloggers, all live at once, giving their tributes, their condolences to Takeoff, which was wonderful to see and amazing. And some channels, they were actually they took it a step further, and they talked about, basically, when will we get tired of the violence that we perpetuate against each other? And that is something that, I am definitely concerned about as well. And it's such a touchy topic because I feel like for a lot of Black people, it's a hard pill for us to swallow when we have to self review and admit the things that as a community we have to address and work on and change and eliminate. And definitely the Black on Black crime, it is something that I feel like we really need to admit. Admission is like that first step, they say for people who are addicted. And I feel like, Black people at times, we are okay and complicit with the violence, with the crimes and the way that we treat each other, and then we hide it behind these facades of, oh, I'm a strong Black woman, and he's a Black man, but I feel like we don't really address what is going on. And for these two young men, relatives and fellow musical artists, for them to be at this bowling bowling alley and they can't even have a little fun without someone losing their life, we need to talk about it. And then another thing that struck me is I do feel like for some people, it's who loses their life. Like it was such a shock, and he was such a celebrated musical artist that everyone wanted to go live and talk about how he has lost his life in an untimely way. At the same time, other crimes can happen in the Black community, and some Black people will say, well, people of all races commit crime. There's crime in other races. You can go into any neighborhood and something could happen. Absolutely. No one is saying that. But if Black people are going to be focused on our community and our race, then we should be concerned about Black on Black crime. I just feel like we kind of pick and choose. We have selective outrage about what upsets us and what we want to talk about, and then what we want to ignore. And I just think that that's really hindering the race, and we're not really causing any effective change. So I want to focus on the term Black on Black crime. So I was born in the 80s, still growing up in the 90s, of course, and so I feel like growing up I heard it in the 90s, Black on Black crime. And it was a term mainly to explain crimes that took place in majority Black neighborhoods. It wasn't used to shame the Black race, but again, it was used to shed light about crimes that were happening in our communities by our people. And Black on Black crime, it didn't really include domestic violence, but it really focused on things like robberies, home break-ins, carjackings, auto theft, and shootings. And so now people respond to hearing that term, Black on Black crime, and they say that it happens in all races. Well, we're not arguing that, but if we're Black people and we're saying that Black lives matter, let's focus on things that happen in our community. We really don't talk about, single parenting in the Black community. It is so extremely prevalent. And it's almost quite the norm for a lot of people to have a baby, before the age of 21. They don't have a bachelor's degree, no professional job, no insurance. And they're having, kids also with a gentleman who's in that same predicament, no education, no professional job with insurance, and so there's never any education about, have you ever thought about getting married first? Have you ever thought about going to college first? Do you want to get on birth control? I feel like in our community, we always have to stumble and kind of learn things in the dark, learn things the hard way. And then we really still don't pass on that information. But it's so interesting. We'll see this constant narrative of support Black owned businesses, support a Black owned business. You hear that, see that all day on Instagram. But we don't use the terms Black on Black crime. Or how can we eliminate teen pregnancy? It's like we pick and choose. And I really think it's because for Black people, it would be hurtful if we admitted to ourselves that, a lot of Black women do not ever get married. And a lot of Black women become single parents and they remain single parents. Our community, we're breaking into each other's homes. And when I talk about Black on Black crime, I'm not saying it would be okay for them to go into non-Black neighborhoods and commit crimes. Absolutely not. But the point is, if we are about strengthening our race, let's talk about the things that we need to work on. Now, a lot of times, if I have this conversation, whether it's on a YouTube channel and I'm calling in, people will call me a coon or an Oreo, and that I'm putting my people down. I've experienced this with someone whom I've known since high school. I thought that our friendship was strong and sincere, so I felt like I could express these feelings, but she did not take it well, and the friendship it pretty much did not survive, unfortunately. But I don't look at it like, oh, I'm putting my race down. I feel like I am just being honest about the things that we need to work on. Why is it that a lot of us Black people, when we do get a degree, when we do get a job, when we are ready to buy a home, do we do it in the urban areas where we grew up? Or do we move outside of that inner city and into suburbia and buy properties there? And if so, why are we doing this? Is it because of black on black crime? And it doesn't make me any less of a black person. It does not make me a hateful person. It just means that I want the community to get stronger and I want us to stop harming each other. I don't think that it's right for retired people, elderly people who just so happen who chose to buy a home in the inner cities like a Detroit and their house is paid off. They're on a fixed income now. They're retired, so they don't want to move. I don't think it's fair to them that they live in fear of their own people, of their own black men, that someone is going to break in and steal from them or worse. And I just think that that is something that we can talk about. And I feel like with all of the emotion and love that people have for Takeoff and their sadness and shock over his life ending so abruptly and suddenly and violently, we also have to look at the entire spectrum of the situation and say that this just ridiculous, meaningless, unnecessary violence is something that we also need to talk about. So that was just, my take on it and how this situation has spoken to me. And, definitely if people may be upset with this video and call me a coon or an Oreo in the comments, that's fine. It won't be the first time that I've heard it. I know who I am, and I know that I'm saying these things from a place of love. So I have five sisters. I'm the baby. One of my sisters, she's 14 years older than me, and she bought a beautiful home in the city of Detroit when she was just like about 24, 25 years old. Well, she's divorced, and she actually got married in her early 20s, got divorced, and then bought the house on her own afterwards. And so basically, some thugs in the neighborhood, they were watching her. They saw that she lived alone and they kept breaking into her home. She had a snowblower and a lawnmower. They stole that. And then she just couldn't take it anymore. And she sold the house and moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan, like 45 minutes away. That's where U of M is. So, but that's the point that I make, that we can't even be in our own neighborhoods, without someone trying to take what you've worked so hard to buy and to own. And I just think that those are things that we need to address and we need to talk about. And what can we do to give these people, these men who do these things, how can we give them, job skills and motivation not to do anything criminal, but to actually go about things the honest way? Why are you stealing from this single woman who gets up and goes to work every day when you could just get a job and you could just buy the things that you need? So that is my point in saying these things. And, when I hear the term Black Lives Matter, we're only requiring white people to say Black Lives Matter and to believe it and to be sincere. But I ask the question to Black people, do Black Lives matter to all of us? When as a woman, if a man is hitting on you, he's being obnoxious with his corny, unintelligent pickup lines, and you're saying no thank you, or you're trying to ignore him, then he gets louder, he gets more aggressive, he follows you, or he curses you out. Does my life matter to him? Do Black lives really matter when someone, is trying to break into your home and take what you've worked so hard to get? Does your life really matter to them? So thank you so much for checking out this video. Please share it on your social media, and let's talk about the things that are like that hard pill to swallow, but it could be the beginning of really, helping our community. And then also please subscribe to my channel. I do TV show recaps as the episodes move me, as there are things that I want to point out, or if I was really entertained, Of course, I make videos about my lock journey and just things that really mean something to me. I also interviewed Winter Harris from Love and Marriage DC. I interviewed a young lady named Simone. She dated Bryson, the son of Nene Leakes. So definitely check out those interviews here on Shows, Style, and Spirit. Thanks again for checking this out, and take good care. Bye-bye.